Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest podcast that you've ever known. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, and with me is my co-host, Anthony Lou Luhan, and this is Get the KO. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest podcast. You have heard it in the intro here. My name is Clifford Red Dog Miller, and as always, I have my host, Anthony Lou Luhan. Say what up, Anthony.
What up, everybody? We are back.
We are back. So yes, this is Get the KO, and you guys are probably wondering, where have you guys been? Well, let's be honest. Okay, we've had a lot of things happen since December. We've had a few things happen. As you can see, it's just the two of us. We are missing another person. Unfortunately, she has had some stuff come up, so she will not be joining us. She may come back on as a special guest, but it's full time right now. Probably not a thing. But Julie, we do love you, and we do want to send our thoughts and prayers with you. So when you get back up and get back on your feet, let us know because we would love to have you back on. Anthony, tell our listeners and viewers actually on the podcast channel, what have you been up to?
Well, I have not been on a podcast since mid September because I have a baby boy here now. And he is officially 7 months. Well, he'll be 8 months this month. So, just the new dad life of actually having a newborn rather than two, I don't call them stepchildren, but stepchildren that have already grown through that age. That's what I've been doing. I've been trying to be a father of a newborn and trying to sleep, and I can't do it.
I know it's a tough life, man. I remember what that was like with the infant stage, man. It's not fun, but I do understand like that's the way it gets. But then once they get on that cycle and they start sleeping better throughout the night, it gets a lot better. So it's definitely good that you have now become. I guess I mean you already are a father, but now you have one of your own. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's different. We have a little boxer in the family. He already you get him right here with arm reach. He's like "Bah, bah, 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 bah," hits me like 10 times. I'm like Jesus, get out of here.
Yeah, and if as for me, we haven't done this podcast since I think the last episode actually was in December, right before December. Since then, I've been attached to a new podcast. So as you guys know, I was on Franken Culture presents Frankensteiner, but we also have had some technical difficulties with that channel. But fortunately, I have switched over to a new show called the Three Count Podcast, which is all about wrestling, but think about it as Skip and Shannon or Around the Horn for some of you people who might like ESPN. So it's just a great show where we just debate topics and just talk about things. And sometimes it gets heated, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get these crazy rants from the host Chaz Evans. But it's a lot of fun, so we do enjoy that. As well as I've still been on Nerds Around Table. We have been just pushing through with that podcast. And then in January, I actually started pro wrestling training. So every week up until March, when our favorite friend, the coronavirus, or some of you guys may have known it as something else, uh, came through, kind of stopped everything, changed the world, and that's the reason why we came back with this show, right? Get the KO came back because this weekend we are recording this on May 5th, and on May 9th, we have one of the largest UFC cards coming back from the Jacksonville Arena. Guys, we are definitely excited because this is really like the big first sporting event that's come on since everything shut down. NFL shut down, NBA shut down, MLB shut down, NHL shut down. I mean, the only two real big kind of sporting events that we've had happen, man, were wrestling, WWE or AEW, regardless whatever one you like, and then the UFC. That's it. So the MMA world, right? Mixed martial arts and pro wrestling have been the only things that kind of been carrying the live entertainment world. So let's talk about this card coming up, Anthony. This is going to be UFC 249. It is happening tomorrow, May 9th at 8 p.m. We have a stacked card from the preliminaries all the way to the main cards, as well as the early preliminaries. We don't ever want to leave those cards out. But for the sake of the show, we will be talking about these fights. What's up,
I
Anthony?
I have one comment here, and I know we're not going to go through the early prelims, but Sam Alvey versus Ryan Spawn's on here, and I'm just really hoping that for Sam Alvey's sake, that Mark Goddard isn't his referee.
Right. I mean, he's taking it hard every time. Every
Twice in a row.
time. Twice in a
All right.
row, just getting jacked, man. That sucks for him.
Let's
So
jump into this.
let's jump into this first fight, right? So we do have Uriah Hall versus Ronaldo Souza. This is going to be a massive fight. We do know. The one thing about this is the first fight, so what makes it really kind of unique is that really all the stats that you had in the past, you can kind of just kind of chuck that shit out the window because really this is going to be the first fight. This is going to be the first team up that we're going to see. So really in this fight, you kind of trying to lean on experience, but with everybody's routine kind of being thrown out of the way, you really don't know which way to bounce. We do know that Uriah Hall has a strong striking game. Hopefully, he's been working on his ground game a lot better, especially working on his takedowns. But for right now, I think I see this fight kind of leaning towards Souza more so than I do going towards Uriah Hall.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to do because Souza's lost 3 out of 4. He lost to Kevin Gastelum. He lost to Jack Hermanson and Jan Blachowicz, but he beat Chris Weidman. But it seems like everybody beats Chris Weidman. So we're just I don't know what to think about this one. I really think that Uriah Hall has came out in the last couple fights and looked really decent. Pulling up his fight stats right now, and I really liked the fact that he's on a 2-fight win streak, and I think that he's just he's finally found that ground that he needs to get under his feet because after losing the Ultimate Fighter against Kevin Gastelum, he kind of was a nobody. Like he was just losing fights, but now he's got his feet back on him. So I really think that he's going to be fine. And I'm going to take Uriah Hall on this one.
Okay. So we got a split. We got our first matchup right out of the gates of who's got who. We have Carla Esparza versus Michelle Waterson coming up next. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, man. I'm gonna be a god honest. This is pure preference. I am a huge fan of Michelle Waterson, and that's who I'm picking for this fight. She's got great striking. She's great underground. She's got great Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She trains with Donald Cerrone, so I'm just saying. I think her still trying to achieve that goal of being the first mommy UFC champion. I have to go with her, man. So I'm gonna go with Michelle Waterson over Carla Esparza.
Um, this is a hard one because Carlos Barza's lost uh, 2 in a row before her last 2 fights, which then were wins. But it was a majority win before against Alexa Grasso. But Michelle, I just think she's more well-rounded. I think she's a better striker. I think Carla is more of a grappler, better grappler than Michelle. But I think if Michelle can keep her at distance, I think Michelle's gonna win it. And I think I'm gonna go with you with this. I'm gonna take the Karate Hottie.
Yeah, I definitely think something else to kind of throw in there too. Um, the bigger thing about like Waterson is that she does have a great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. So even if Carla can get her to the ground, I don't know if necessarily Carla has what it takes to keep her down and like keep control of that, keep her ground game on, grinding on top of Waterson, whereas Waterson's gonna be able to maneuver her and get in a better position. I do like Esparza. That's like the one thing that's really hard because this fight, both fighters I really enjoy a lot, but it is Michelle Waterson, and I've been a fan of hers since Bully Beatdown.
Yes.
So let's get into our next fight, right? We have Aleksei Oleinik versus Fabricio Werdum. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a more experienced fighter in this, and as much as people would be like, "Oh, he's going Werdum," no, I'm going Oleinik. I mean, it's something to be said when you're 58-13. So, and you have one draw. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one with that, and I think Oleinik's gonna take this fight.
I think I'm gonna go with you at this one, and it's not even just because of how many fights he has. It's because there is a real thing called ring rust, and for hasn't fought since March of 2018 when he lost to Alexander Volkov. That's literally the last time he's been in the cage, and I think that him coming back, he is gonna have some ring rust.
He's definitely have some ring rust. And speaking of people who are going to be really tough in the octagon, other than Oleinik, this next fight, Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. Pettis is coming off of his huge win over Stephen Wonderboy. I think Pettis did just lose his last fight, did he not? He won. I know
Nate
he won
Diaz?
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Nate Diaz loss. Right. he's coming off the Nate Diaz loss. Donald Cerrone's coming off of his getting knocked out by Conor McGregor. Hopefully, Stephen A. Smith is going to be a part of this show because we will learn a lot about both these fighters. I think the number one person out there, I think this fight, I have to go with Donald Cerrone in this fight, even though I really do like Pettis. It is something about Showtime that he's amazing in the ring, but I really think Donald Cerrone has the engine to keep pushing and get this fight done.
I agree with you with that. It's hard because you have two of my top 10 favorite wrestlers right now going at it. Anthony Pettis looked like he was getting beat up against Wonder Boy, and then comes back with the Superman hook, we'll call it, and beats him. He then fought Tony Ferguson and got beat up into that. It was like the third round or the end of the second round, beginning of the third, when something clicked, but then ultimately he broke his hand and he couldn't fight no more. And then Nate Diaz, you lost to Nate Diaz. That's not something bad because Nate Diaz is a bad motherfucker. And so I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm a toss up because they're both a couple of my favorite fighters. But who do I love more? Donald Cerrone. So I got to go with Donald Cerrone.
Yep. Yeah, it is tough, man, especially because we know like how great Pettis is in the octagon, and like you said, he did, and I will call it what it is, man. It was a lucky punch. It was timed well, right, coming off the cage, but landing against Steve Wonderboy is not something that happens all the time. And watching that punch even land, oh man, it was beautiful. I give credit, but kind of a lucky shot. But let's move on. So we're gonna get into the main card, right? So our first fight, the heavyweight fight. This is gonna be incredible because we do have Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro, and we just have to be honest, man. It's a great Hardy, but he's going against a guy who's undefeated. Now there's no knock on Greg Hardy because he has been in his octagon. He's been doing a lot of work, but I don't know, man. It's something about I've said it before. I'll say it again, man. It's something about having that O on your loss that keeps you keeps you hungry, and keeps you wanting fighting, especially if you're trying to fight for a title. And I like De Castro for this fight because of that. But let's be real. Nobody's making it out of the first round in this fight.
This is a hard one. Are we going to keep an overall score again of records?
So for our viewers at home, you can actually see that I'm actually keeping stuff together. I know our podcast listeners can't see it, but yeah, I'm definitely keeping track of all of our picks.
No, this is a hard one because god awful. Everybody knows I hate Greg Hardy. I'm a big advocate against domestic assault, and that guy to me, even though he could be a changed man. I mean, he's grinding at the thing. He's a piece of shit in life, but oh man, I don't know. That's a hard one. I want to go with Yorgan, but I can't do it. I think Greg Hardy's gonna give him his first L.
And I mean, I think this is De Castro's first fight in the UFC. Is this not?
No, I don't. I think it's his second because I think
second.
because he beat Justin Tafa at UFC 243.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's not. I don't know, man. It's a good matchup. So it's a good test for De Castro as he's trying to make his way up. I know Greg Hardy. He's had 7 fights in the UFC, but 8 fights in the UFC, but all of his fights have been, we're going either to the finish or someone's getting knocked out. And I think this might be one of those times where De Castro matches him like just power for power. And even in their weigh-ins, they both had that death look in their eyes. So it's like, it's gonna be a fun fight. It's gonna be a fun time. Right. Next up, we do have Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go with the Heathen one on this one.
Why? I just want to know why.
Yeah, it's because he's just a nut, man. Like I love watching him go in, throw punches. He fights with a reckless abandonment. But he's also very smart. When he needs to take a fight to the ground, he'll take that fight to the ground. But I think this is the one time where Stevens he needs this a lot, and I feel like he's just gonna go out there and get the job accomplished.
All right, I got you definitely. Um, I'm going differently, and here's the reason why, man. I got mad respect for Jeremy Heathen Stevens, man. I love the dude for real. The fight in Mexico with what is it, Al Pantalones or whatever his name is, Pantero. Um, the finger poke, and then all the stuff that happened afterwards in the hotel and everything going on there, for him to come back and fight him and then lose, I it it's mind blowing. It really is. And so I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to take Calvin Qatar. And he lost his last fight, but he lost his last fight to Zabit. He's also beat Ricardo Lamas and Andre Touchy-Feely since getting into the UFC. So that's why I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to take Calvin Qatar.
Okay. I mean, it's to be said. I mean, the last 3 losses that Steven has had is against Jose Aldo, Zabit, and then Yair Rodriguez. So I mean, it's not like he's lost to chumps. So we just kind of have to put that out there too. Pay your respects, young man.
I like him. I really do like Jeremy Heathen Stevens. But after all the stuff that happened in Mexico, from to come back to the United States and then lose to Yair, get out of here.
So our next fight, Francis Ngannou versus Jair Zahio. How do you say it? It's a Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So I'm gonna be honest. I like Ngannou in this fight. It's something about the Nigerian that he's a nightmare, a Nigerian nightmare. And no, we're not talking about the Kansas City running back. We're talking about Francis Ngannou. Okay, man's got power in his hands and it touches everybody's faces and knocks them out. So I'm gonna have to go with Francis in this fight.
They both have this one punch knockout. Ask Alistar Overeem's lip about that. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a toss up. I mean, Francis Ngannou's beating everybody. I mean, besides Derek Lewis with the 9 punches total in that whole fight and getting owned by Stipe. But this guy's undefeated too. So, I don't know. This one's a hard one. I know that Alistar was probably winning that fight before he got his lip split, but this guy's tough.
He is tough, but there's something to be said though. Alistair Overeem was winning all 4 rounds in that fight and going to win the 5th round in that fight, all the way up until like the last 10 seconds of that fight. So if this says anything about Rozenstruik, is that he'll take the punishment and he'll keep coming at you. And you're right, he is tough, but Ngannou has shown that he has the ability to just put guys out. So
I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go Francis Ngannou with the win, but I am gonna cheer on his opponent, and I am gonna cheer on Rozenstruik.
Fair enough. I guess that's. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Either way, I'm gonna win. That's what you sounded like. I'm gonna cheer on Ngannou, but who's the Struik gonna go?
No matter what happens, who wins any of these fights this weekend, we're all winners. We got UFC back.
Yeah, we'll say that to Rozenstruik after he gets knocked out. So anyway, we have Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz. This is first fight for Dominick Cruz in a long time. Although I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of impressed to see Dominick Cruz and his physique, the way he looked when he came to the face-offs. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go with Cejudo because he looked so lame kicking those stupid pillows and then going back and picking them up later. So I'm gonna pick Cejudo because there is something to be said when you have 2 titles and of course you are an Olympic champion. He's got the 3 C's. Dominick Cruz has 3 ACLs replacements. So we'll rock out with Cejudo.
He's 3 C's. He's triple C. So here's my thing. The last time that Dominic Cruz fought was the loss against Cody Garbrandt in December 30th of 2016. Um, he's also had these layoffs. He had a 2-year layoff, a matter of fact, or a year and a half layoff between Takeyaku Mizugaki and TJ Dillashaw, and he came back and won against TJ Dillashaw. And so he Dominic Cruz is so smart that he doesn't really have this ring rust. And I know 4 years is a long time, but his fight IQ is so great, except for if you mess with him, get in his head like Cody Garbrandt did. But I just think it's just a new era, and I can't not go against the triple C right now. He's hot. He's definitely hot, and he's all about it right now. So I'm gonna go with Cejudo too.
I'm glad you thoroughly enjoy Cejudo and saying that he's hot.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That's why I said that.
Wow. You need Jesus.
You need Jesus. So our last fight, actually, these next two guys need Jesus because they fight with reckless abandonment and do not care, and will put the punishment to each other. And those two gentlemen are known as Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go with Tony in this fight because I don't know. Everybody has like their conditioning, and then Tony always has his conditioning that he does, and his conditioning scares me more than anybody else's conditioning I've ever seen.
I'm with you here with the whole conditioning thing, but I don't know if he's fought somebody with the striking power that Justin Gaethje has. And I'm real quick. I'm going to Wikipedia. I'm gonna look through his fight record, and Edson Barbosa had strong kicks. James Vick didn't have. James Vick is a good striker, but he didn't have the power. Dustin Poirier had the smarts to take the wind out of him. Eddie Alvarez did the same thing, took the wind out of him. Michael Johnson, he has pressure. He's a good striker, but no power. I don't know if anybody's really gonna anybody that Justin Gaethje's even fought has the power that Justin Gaethje has, and I just don't think that anybody that Tony's fought has the power of Justin Gaethje. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the thing is though, guys who've been all around, like have good power, great speed, great technique, they've all fallen to Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, Anthony Pettis, Rafael Dos Anjos, Edson Barboza. Every single one of those guys have been known for something, and Tony's been able to take that out of the game. If Justin Gaethje thinks that his power shot's going to come in and he's going to land and it's going to put down Ferguson, Ferguson's going to neutralize that power hand, and then he's going to turn around and beat the shit out of him repeatedly, like he did with Donald Cerrone.
And I agree, and I definitely agree. And looking at El Cucui's mark. I mean, Lando Venata had some strong striking power, but it doesn't match up to Justin Gaethje. I don't think. The thing that goes against Justin Gaethje is all the weird movements that Tony does, all the weird strikes, how he elevates his own game. So it's a hard one, but I'm not going against it, and you best believe it. I do believe that it's going to be Tony Ferguson that wins it.
All right, so Tony Ferguson is your pick. So let's have some fun, right? So let's just call it. We'll call our match of the night, and then we'll call our potential KO of the night. So what do you think? What do you think match of the night is going to land?
I think it's going to be in the prelims. No, you know what? I think it's going to be in the early prelims.
You say early prelims?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be Vince Luque versus Nico Price. That's going to be the. I know we didn't go through them. But I think that might be the fight of the night.
That's be Friday night. That's a strong pick too. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think Friday night is actually gonna be Cejudo and Cruz. It's just I don't know how. I think that fight goes off 5 rounds, and I think that those dudes are gonna just throw bombs. Give me 1 second as I finish typing this in. Luki versus Price. All
So
right, so
now,
let's go with our
now we're
let's
going
go
to
with
the
our
KO.
KO. Yeah, this show.
Um,
Wait, first of all, this show is called Get the KO, so we should have a KO of the night. Who do you think the KO of the night is going to be?
that's a hard one because you have evidently 4 guys with knockout power in like straight knockout power in the main card between Greg Hardy and Yorgan de Castro and Francis Ngannou and Mr. Rosenstruck. Um, I'm gonna call KO of the night for Greg Hardy.
You think Greg Hart? So we'll put down. We won't say who will get the knockout, right? We've already picked our winners, but we figured that's where probably the knockout of the night's going to come at. So you're taking Hardy versus De Castro, and
Yes.
I'm actually going to take Nagano, Rosenstruck. I think that's where the KO of the night is going to come into play.
Okay.
So check and check. It's kind of surprising too, but no, there's gonna be a lot of good fights. Guys, we are gonna be on here probably next week, maybe even like Monday or even Friday, kind of just depending on what's going on with the schedule wise. We do have a lot of stuff kind of going on, so we try to catch up with you guys as much as possible. But we do want to say that we are back. We want to be back. We are going to do as many episodes as we can for you guys. We're going to try to bring on a couple guests here and there every once in a while. But we just want to give you guys updates that as long as it's going to be a UFC or even, you know, Bellator going on, we are going to be here covering those fights.
I just read that Jeremy Heathen Stevens came in at 150.5 and Qatar came in at 146. So Jeremy Stevens was 5 pounds over.
Yeah, I'm going to pick him to win the fight now for sure because what was it last year? Last year there was like an absurd stat where it's like 14 fighters came in overweight and 13 of them won.
Right.
So
yeah, so we're extremely proud. We're happy to be here again. I cannot wait to get this jumping again. My newborn son is at that age where he's not crying every 30 minutes or every hour, and we can start doing this again.
right. So as for me, you guys can actually, you know what, Anthony, go ahead and tell them where they can find you on your socials.
All right, so Twitter is a Luhan 1985. Instagram Anthony Luhan 1985. Snapchat a Luhan 1985. Facebook. We want to give a good shout out to the Team 22 again. Here we at this again. We're still doing it. We are still monitoring all social media posts. People looking for help. If you guys don't know, me and Cliff both are veterans, and we are really big into talking about issues and helping soldiers, helping veterans, and just not just them, just everybody in the world. We want to see everybody happy. And so, but I personally, myself, I have to give my shout outs to 20 and give my 22 a day speech and let you know that if you need us, we're here.
Yep. And then you guys can catch me on all your favorite social media platforms at CM_Miller85. Somehow I got lucky enough to do that. We want to give a huge shout out to our not knowing they're our sponsor or partner, Monster, for coming out with the Red Dog energy drink. I appreciate that, guys, so much. And also, you guys can catch me on all of the best podcasts out there, right? So, 3 Count Podcast, right here we Get the KO, and then you guys can also catch me on Nerds Around Table, where we do interviews with big indie directors, and then even on 3 Count we do with indie wrestlers. You guys catch us all. We're gonna, like we said, we're gonna try to get some guests on here too as well. But we're back. We're here for you guys, and give us a listen, give us a like, Put a comment down below and let us know what you think of the show. And we will catch you guys next time.
22.